Swim to the broadcast. Swim, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, Rosemary. I had chills watching that last game. I'm super, super excited for Worlds. It's going to be a great time just watching the best players in the history of Runeterra duke it out over these 3 days.
I'm so excited for game number 2, and game number 2 is going to be between Aikado and Pinpingho, which is our very first match of Group B. So I can't wait to get into it, and Amazonian, I'm just going to let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Necra. Swim, I'm hyped for this match. Are you hyped for this match?
Oh, I'm very, very hyped for this match.
Yes.
And, I will say, I've got a bit of a stake in this match because, I've talked with Aikado a little bit. We've talked about, lineups, and I gotta say, I'm rooting for my boy, but the odds are against him here in this lineup.
So, Swim, what do you think about Aikado's Lulu Poppy deck that we're going to be seeing very soon? Because I feel like you built the original Lulu Zed, which this deck is just an iteration of.
It's based off of it, but Aikado took that concept and made it even better, and that's why I'm a part of why I'm so excited to watch this series, because I think it is a spectacular deck build.
Oh, it really is. So the deck switch these players have brought are very nice. We actually see an odd one out between them as well. So Aikado is running Draven Ezreal. That's a little bit of tri-beam going on.
Yeah.
Lulu Poppy Elusives and Zoe Nami. Always got to have at least one Zoe Nami here. And Pinpingho is running Pirate Aggro. Yar, it's been a thing since Bilgewater was released, and it's still pretty sweet. Discard aggro. Are you noticing a theme here? And
Yeah.
Sivir Akshan. So let's take a look at these lists. What do you think about this lineup?
So, lineup to lineup, it's, like I said, it's looking bad for Aikado. Aikado is bringing Zoe Nami, and something that's really interesting, and we're going to see this in Worlds over and over again, is that different regions have completely different ideas and metas about what's good and what's bad. A lot of NA and EU players think Zoe Nami is the deck to beat, and a lot of Asian players don't think it's very good at all, actually. In fact, not a single Asian player, if I'm not mistaken, brought Zoe Nami to this tournament. In fact, Pinpingho's lineup is actually geared towards beating Zoe Nami. Like you said, it's heavy aggro, and that's why Aikado's unfavorable. This Zoe Nami might actually be the weak point in his lineup here.
And if you don't have to ban Zoe Nami, you're in a pretty good spot when you're lining up your decks against your opponent. Now, Aikado, I was actually watching play League of Legends last night, doing a great job there. And let's see if he does a great job here as well. Really got to span across all games. Multi-talented fellow right here.
Yeah, Aikado has been just nutting out all month. He has a ridiculous tournament track record in the last month. He's cleaned up like 3 or 4, like top cut, I think 4 different tournaments in the last 5 weeks, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he was second place at Rise of the Underworld. Yeah. And in that one, he actually did something interesting where he had a completely different lineup from the open rounds to the top 32. Whereas here, he's actually running not exactly the same list, but almost the same list, and the same 3 archetypes coming into the top 16.
Yeah, out of all the players in the game, Aikado is one of the most versatile and adaptive players, which really says something that he brought similar decks, like basically, like you were saying, the same decks as before last week, because that means he has a lot of faith in these decks to perform, especially his signature Ezreal Draven, which he's kind of been known for in these last couple of weeks. A lot of people are switching to, Draven Sion and Draven Caitlyn, but Aikado has kind of like pioneered staying true to Draven Ezreal, and he has an absurd track record with that deck.
Yes, it's a great lineup here. And I think we should take a look at Pinpingho's as well.
Yeah. I also want to mention, like, Aikado's, he's always saying, like, he's unfavored in these tournaments. Like, he's always like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be good. And you mentioned he got second place in the last seasonal after losing to Mo with kind of like...
Oh my gosh, what a loss it was, though.
Yes. The super aggro lineup, he's kind of running back that same thing, because we see Pinpingho is also bringing the really aggro lineup. So it's kind of like a spiritual rematch against this aggro lineup that he has to try to battle a second time.
PTSD, like PTSD,
maybe.
like, oh god, Pinpingho, he's running triple aggro. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. No, it's definitely not what you want to see, especially queuing into a lineup such as Aikado's. But let's talk about Pinpingho's lineup, because there's some interesting decisions going on here, especially with this discard deck that he brought. It's a Draven Jinx discard deck, and it's also running, you know, some really unique cards. It's using some of the discard package from Scion, like Reborn Grenadier, but it's playing very aggressive. And honestly, it's going to be a little inconsistent, but super powerful when it works.
Yes, you can ignore actually part of this graphic here. It's not quite correct, but as we mentioned before, Pinpingho's 3 decks are Pirate Aggro. We've got Discard Aggro. We got, of course, the Jinx there, but Lulu is not a part of that deck.
Yeah, it's meant to be Draven.
Absolutely accurate. Sivir and Akshans swinging in from Shurima.
Yeah, so we can actually talk about the bans in these lineups a little bit. Basically, as I mentioned, the idea is Pinpingho is a full aggro lineup, pretty much, trying to beat decks like Zoe Nami. Zoe Nami is a very spooky list, so it's extremely polarizing and the perfect kind of list to build a lineup around beating. So Pinpingho is probably going to be taking a ban on Ezreal Draven. It would just have to make the most sense, because that's the deck that does the best into these kinds of aggro, these board-based aggro decks. Whereas Aikado does have a bit more of a ban option. Honestly, none of these matchups are good for Aikado, but it's pretty likely he'll ban Sivir Akshan, if I had to guess, which is just a little bit worse statistically.
Sivir Akshan, a very good deck. Even post-nerf, Merciless Hunter and Rune Runner, not quite as strong, but there's other great cards which can slot into the Rune Runners little area at the top end. So I want to take a look at the Group B players. Of course, these 2 players are part of Group B. And right now, we've got Group B. It's going to be Cosimo, Aikado, How to Die, and Pinpingho. So I actually have watched Cosimo play before. Always some great games there. And, oh, it looks like we're ready to hop right into the match.
There we go. All right, and we are starting off strong here. So Amazonian, what do you think about kind of like what Aikado is going to have to do to win this one? What would you say like the cruxes of this matchup are going to be?
Okay, this is going to sound weird, but not die. When you're up against aggro, sometimes it's just about sustaining yourself just long enough to get your game plan rolling. And in this case, Draven Ezreal, you want to build up the perfect tri-beam. Maybe you want to land something good, like a little vine that spits out critters every turn. Or if you're on your own aggro deck, the Lulu Poppy deck, you want to just go underneath their deck. You want to be unblockable. You want to kick their butts. And you might have a little bit of trouble going up against actually that Jinx aggro.
Wow.
Jinx Draven. And wow, those are interesting bans.
This is a very interesting ban. Pinpingho electing to ban out the not the Ezreal Draven deck, but instead the Lulu Poppy deck we were talking about. I won't get to see that one here, but this is exactly what I mean. You know, conventionally, with a lot of like the Western strategies in this game, most people would agree that Ezreal Draven was the easy ban there, but the metas are just different in different areas. And Pinpingho, yeah, exactly.
Ezreal, great at removing all of these little attackers you have in your aggro decks.
Yeah.
You're willing to face off against Ezreal? That's putting yourself in a tough spot. But Pinpingho already off to a great start. Getting in that nice plunder damage.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I love Worlds so much. It's just like this idea of all these different metas and all these different styles of play that we take these as givens. You know, we think, oh, this is the correct way to do it. But different areas play the game so differently, and we get to see what ends up working out the best out of all of them, right? Like, we don't normally see different regions come together like this.
And something I love about Pinpingho's hand right here, you've got both the champs. You've got MF and Gangplank ready to deal some damage. And actually, I think that Miss Fortune's pretty impactful in most matchups right now.
Yes.
I'm thinking about how many things have 1 health and thus cannot block. They are just useless, fundamentally useless against Miss Fortune.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I mean, we're looking at the board here. This is interesting. It's normally not a bad matchup for Aikado, but it's a really awkward board state, right? Because, of course, Aikado doesn't really have early blockers in the hand, and that's really what you want here. So he's going to take some damage right off the gates, and early damage against burn is not good. Basically, the idea of Pinpingho's deck is it's an aggro deck that doesn't play for the board as much as it just deals direct damage, and usually you want to counter that by racing them down. Aikado's hand doesn't really have any pressure, and that's why it's so awkward in this matchup. So Aikado's going to be on a clock to try to end this game.
Yeah, I was talking before about the usefulness of those blockers against MF. The reason she had to die there was because the only possible blocker in hand, Thorn of the Rose, she couldn't block there. She would just die to the bullets.
Exactly. Now we're seeing Aikado thinking about whether he wants to take the unit or, save himself the spell mana. It looks like in this case, he's not sending to spell mana. Normally, in a reactive deck like this, you would just kind of like play for reactivity, but Aikado is going to use all of his mana to develop blockers preemptively. There's the second Decimate from Pinpingho, and that's actually a great draw for him here. Normally, in this kind of like burn style deck, you want to draw your units first and your burn later. But in this matchup, Aikado, he doesn't have healing, and he's slow to race down the Nexus. These Decimates are just face damage, right? And if we're counting the damage that Pinpingho has access to, 2 Decimates, the Grenadier, and the Corsair getting 1 more attack, that's already 10 damage, and Aikado's at 14.
Aikado, again, needs to stay alive. That is the key up against these decks. You need to make sure you can stabilize. But if you're not playing things like Targon, healing, you're going to be in a tough spot. You're going to just have to sacrifice a lot of your units preemptively to make sure that you don't go too low. So like right here, I think that it would be pretty smart to take out the unstoppable damage that's on the board, making sure that your opponent is not able to get in Crackshot Corsair for another hit.
Yep. You pretty much are going to have to start removing these units. I mean, Aikado is probably going to be thinking about dragging in the Corsair here for free, just keeping his unit alive as a blocker later. I do want to say something that's really interesting and that I was thinking about just now. I think part of the reason Pinpingho went with the ban that he did, we're looking at this matchup right now, and it's a pretty favorable matchup for Pinpingho overall. You know, unless Aikado has a good hand that can race, Burn should do fine against this version of Draven, right? The one thing is that Pinpingho would have had to be completely sure Aikado was going to ban Sivir Akshan for Pinpingho's ban to make sense. So I think he just completely predicted what Aikado was going to ban there.
Galaxy brain.
That's crazy.
Pinpingho, by the way, absolutely phenomenal record. For his region, I don't think that there's a better player.
Yes. No, absolutely. Pinpingho is kind of like heralded as the best player right now, at least results-wise, in Southeast Asia. He has just a ridiculous track record in that region. I mean, he's won a seasonal, he top 4'd another, he's top cut almost every seasonal so far. It's absolutely insane.
Taking a little sit break right there. I see Aikado taking a break to breathe while Pinpingho decides his next move. So there is a Gangplank not leveled up, but there's also a Ballista and a Grenadier here, which can just get in more damage. That Grenadier, you're getting at least 1 in. And this Overwhelm, toughness, health, it's not really Noxus's strong suit. They tend to go a lot more punch heavy. They're putting their power into their power. And here comes Aloof Travelers, though. What's it gonna hit? It hit Decimate.
Decimate, which is huge here. That is absolutely huge hit. Because like I said, this is a really irregular matchup. Normally, you just want to value board pressure. Taking out that Decimate is effectively a heal 4 for Aikado, and it draws Pinpingho a Jagged Butcher. He can't curve it out this turn, and it's gonna be pretty useless. That's a huge Aloof.
I do like the aloof oofs right there. And we're just going to see the double ballistas coming in.
Yep. And Pinpingho attacking here instead of pulling out of the unit because Grenadier doesn't have great attack into the 3-4 stat line that aloof threatens, and he can see the Guile in Aikado's hand, so he knows it would just force out a stun. Instead, he's going to use the overwhelm damage to favor Jagged Butcher into a guaranteed plunder trigger. This is a much, much better play, especially because against Draven Ezreal, you need your units to have tankiness. They have so much removal.
So Aikado earning another point of respect from me, using that nice beach party, pool party, sorry, Draven skin. Look at that, look at that beautiful card up there. Do you have a preference for skins or no skins?
Oh no, I'm a skinner for sure. Like definitely Pool Party Draven's the best one. I would hope we get to see it leveled, but unfortunately, it's probably not going to happen here. We do see the third Ravenous Flock being drawn, though. Not what you want to see in Aikado's hand if you're him.
Yeah, so the triple flock with 1 stun and a thermo beam, not great at really doing small amounts of damage. Thermo beam, very good at obliterating one of those gangplanks, but that's about it.
Yep, exactly. And I gotta say, I really can't stress enough how big of a deal that discarded Decimate was. Like, if you're just looking at this game state, I mean, Pinpingho was very, very favored until that Decimate got discarded. He would have literally preferred Gangplank to get discarded over the Decimate, actually, because that's just like, against Draven Ezreal, they want to control your units, and the whole point of Burn is that it doesn't rely on units, right? It goes uncontrollable. But the fact that that Aloof discarded the Decimate instead of the Gangplank, see, this Gangplank is just gonna die, right? It's damaged, it's gonna get flocked, it's useless. But Aikado's health is low. Pinpingho needs to draw more Burn, more Fervors, more Decimates.
And there goes the barrel. And of course, this Gangplank's not going to be long for this world with the triple flock in hand, able to deal 4. It's not like Pinpingho's able to heal up units here, but oh, that's a nice bit of follow-up. The Misfortune. Not a bad card to have. And, of course, Aikado at 12 Nexus health right now. I'm trying to see into the future. How much Nexus health does he actually have, accounting for the Decimate in hand, the Grenadier, and this Misfortune probably not coming out until next turn, though.
It'll be a total of 7, because the Grenadier 1 damage is uncounterable, the Decimate is uncounterable, the Misfortune will always die before she can attack, and if Aikado plays it carefully, which he will, and that's really rough for Pinpingho, because now Aikado's in the driver's seat of this match. Now he's going to start applying pressure, and Pinpingho's out of resources. Look at the hand size here, right? Pinpingho only has 3 cards left, and Aikado has a handful of options. Looking real bad for Pinpingho.
Yeah, Pinpingho also going to see the effects of a Tri-Beam pretty soon. I'm not sure what that Tri-Beam's up to. I want to say 5?
Yeah, I was also gonna say I was hoping we wouldn't talk about that because I'm a bad caster and I haven't been paying attention to the Tri-Beam.
Counting the number of times that somebody plays a 3-cost spell is, you know what? You need like a piece of scratch paper to do it. But
Hang on,
we're
I'll
going to
pull out
see
a
it
notepad.
eventually. All right, so we're gonna take down our notes. We've seen the Ezreal, we've seen the Draven.
I will say, something that's big here is Pinpingho did just draw the Noxian Fervor. Now, keep in mind, Burn is all a game about counting to 20. The Legion Grenadier is going to come down, inevitable 1 damage. The Fervor is 3 more, leaving Aikado at 4. So if we draw the 3rd and final Decimate, or some combination of Fervor and something else, then that's enough damage. But Pinpingho's going to have a hard time getting this Fervor off through Aikado's ability to stop it, right? I mean, if this Misfortune comes down, Aikado will just shoot her right away, not let Fervor get off.
Just letting all that damage go through, nothing you can do about it. Pinpingho just passing the turn here, burning through that excess mana. So there's a little bit of elusive damage, but Ezreal's probably going to get in the way.
Yep,
Or
and I want
not.
to talk about why Aikado just passed there. It's pretty important. He had a Mystic Shot fleeting from Ezreal, but he knows his role in this matchup is just a stabilizer. He knows he wants to burn out Pinpingho's mana, and Pinpingho is going to be waiting for him to tap under a re-response. So we're just going to, ignore the face damage and just make sure we're playing control, burning the mana. There's the
There we
Tri-Beam.
go. It's at 4, so we're going to see a random 4-cost unit. It's the Rogue Maker. Ooh.
The Robe Maker. I mean, it's a 3-4. That's a pretty good stat
Yeah,
line.
that's
we take
not
those.
bad if you want to attack or block in. And he's fabulous. Just look at his fashion. That is the man who outfitted Veigar himself.
I want to say there's actually something really interesting right now happening on the board. Aikado has exactly this one action to damage or stun the MF. If he doesn't do it right now, then Pinpingho could use Fervor first, and then suddenly, because she's not pre-damaged or pre-stunned, Aikado wouldn't have been able to stop that, because he only has a Mystic Shot, and he can't enable Flock and Mystic Shot on the same action. So Aikado realized what was happening, knew he would have to stop a Fervor, knew his health is the only thing that matters, and preemptively set up the potential Flock on the Fervor target. So he's safe.
Going for the trade here. 1 damage through. Aikado now at
There's the Flock.
6.
And this
here's
is a
the
beautiful
flock.
flock because he knows he's got the second flock bricked in his hand. He knows that Pinpingho, if he uses Fervor, it's a trap. This Fervor is a Hail Mary. Pinpingho's in a corner. He knows it's his only chance, but the second flock is going to come down, and that's pretty much it. How is Pinpingho going to deal this last 6 damage anymore?
With just a make it rain in hand, and now a leveled Ezreal to contend with. Pinpingho is not in a good spot. Aikado on a full clutch of cards. We've got a Tri-Beam, we've got the Axes, and Pinpingho knows it. And they're going to move into the next game.
Yep. That was an absolutely tight game one. Look at Aikado. Look at how relieved and relaxed he is. He's just chilling. He's maintaining his calm. Pinpingho, the same. I mean, you're going to see card game players that are basically going to be really, really good at just like no matter what happens, they're just going to be focusing on how do I win. And if we look at the situation, Aikado won game one, but he has to win with Zoe Nami now, and that was the deck that Pinpingho is kind of targeting with his lineup. It's two aggro decks against Zoe Nami, so Aikado only has a slight edge here.
Swim, how do you feel about the Zoe Nami deck, just overall?
Oh, it was a mistake. Yeah, no, that deck was a mistake already. Zoe Nami is a pretty good deck, Amy. I think that for the most part, Zoe Nami is a deck that's going to be really, really powerful when it's able to get the cards in the right order and draw the Nami, right? It's super, super reliant on having the Nami and being oh, there it is in the hand.
The double troubles and the Namis, though.
That's huge. That's huge.
I love your saying it's like it's all about you gotta get that Nami. And the reason for that is because you want to have a leveled Nami hit the battlefield as soon as you can. But this is sick. You get to see.
One thing that's a little spooky in this matchup is the Nami isn't enough. With burn and with all this damage, Aikado needs a Sparklefly. If he can get a Sparklefly, if he can get either a draw on the Sparklefly or gifts from beyond that can pull a Sparklefly, then he might be good. But without that lifesteal, Nami might not be enough to race down this burn deck, especially with a draw like that. We're gonna have to see the double trouble block this.
That is the triple onesies. And of course you want to be saving that double trouble. Well, wow, getting to refund a spell. I was going to say, like, the reason you do that is because you want to bank the spell mana so you can level up your Nami. But the deck did it for him.
The misfortune there is so big. This is so bad for Aikado. That's a huge misfortune. Completely punishing these one health units. Pinpingho is going to be able to maintain a board, and Aikado can't do anything about it. This is why this deck is such a hard counter to Zoe Nami. Aikado knows he has to just use double trouble here. He's hoping for, this is the crazy thing. Normally, double trouble, you hate to see the Ephemerals, the Shadow Fiends, but Aikado would love to see a Shadow Fiend or a Reborn Grenadier right now. Because he needs something that can at least threaten this Misfortune's attack, at least block down with more than just one health. At least kill off the Saboteur and stop another attack. You need a 1-2 stat line would be able to block the Saboteur, survive Misfortune's barrage, and at least kill the Saboteur.
And I'm thinking about just how awkwardly positioned the spells are right now. Going, in fact, for the super cool star chart. We're going to take a look here. You've got Equinox to silence, Moonglow to protect, and the Trickster. It's just a nice body on the board, but it cannot come out here. And I feel like none of these are great because you have these single target hits. Going for the 3/3 is
it's pretty rough. I actually wonder what Aikado is going for that. I mean, you're looking for the Messenger, the 2/2 that can at least kill off a unit reliably. You know, if you have Moon Silver, then you can at least discount your double trouble and play it. But it's gonna be rough. He's already at 11 health. This almost looks over already. He needs that Sparklefly.
No Sparklefly. Shelly and Nami just chilling in hand. Another double trouble, but unless that double trouble happens to roll into the high health units, talking about things like the Boxtopus. That's not a 1 health one. I'm blanking on the 1 health one. Yeah, this is not the spot he wants to be in. And Aikado has. Yeah, you don't want to throw out your Nami as a blocker. It's really, really awkward doing that.
And we can also look at Pinpingho's hand here. Normally having so many 1-drops would be a vulnerability, right? Especially against decks that will run you out of steam. In this matchup, Pinpingho's hand is perfect. I mean, he's just going to have a 6 white attack on turn 5, no matter what. And Zoe Nami's really vulnerable to that. This is why so many of the Asian players think that Zoe Nami is not as good as the Western players think. Like, they're just punishing it out. Zoe Nami might have a hard time winning this series.
I feel like Zoe Nami is a very, very good deck in a vacuum. But when you're dealing with this multi-region meta, you have so much more to contend with. And now Pinpingho has filled up this board, but still has more damage in hand, more units if needed. And there's the double trouble, getting not bad hits, but not good hits if you're being attacked by a misfortune.
Yep. And the other thing is, with so much pressure on, this Nami's level progress is pretty low, right? I mean, you're not going to, because you can't bank spell mana in this matchup, because the early aggression just stops that so well, you just kind of have to play the Nami early. And at this point, look at all this damage you're taking. The Corsair trigger, the Misfortune trigger, the Saboteur trigger, and all of this unit damage. I mean, what do you do against this?
Leave me be.
Well, you block with a Nami, that's what you do. Something you almost never want to be doing. You never want to be reducing your Nami and putting her in range of burn. But it looks like Pinpingho is just going straight for face. This is the Smork strat right here.
Leave me be.
Yeah, this is where Aikado is basically deciding whether he's going to sacrifice the Nami to use Sunblessed Vigor on her or just keep her alive. He needs the Nami alive because he needs to top deck a Sparklefly and start getting health back immediately. And if he wants the Sparklefly to survive a Fervor, he might need Sunblessed Vigor up as well. This gives him a bit of an out. If he blocks the Corsair, he gets to keep his Nami alive, which is really important. But he just dies to the Fervor if it comes down this turn, which it pretty much will.
Yep, the Pinpingho has the mana to cast it.
All right, so we're going down to a total of 3 health here. Or is this, wait, hang on. We're going down to a total of 2 health here after the 3rd trigger.
There's
and
an ebb. There is an ebb in hand. You can heal up an itty bitty bit. But like that fervor is nearly lethal. And I would say that it is practically lethal because of the unstoppable damage in Pinpingho's deck. There's so many units that just by existing, just by attacking in, are going to deal the final one.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, Aikado is basically doomed here because he needs to be able to cast the ebb to create the flow. That's going to be the one that heals him. But if he does it right now, then Pinpingho can put the Fervor on the stack and kill him before he gets it. If he waits for the Fervor to get on the stack, the Fervor comes on the stack right now, and Aikado is dead. There's nothing he can do about it. He cannot get the flow fast enough.
It's all about the timing.
And I don't think there's really anything Pinpingho is going to be playing around here. I mean, forcing out a Guiding Touch is going to be in your favor. There's nothing that deck can really do at this speed to stop the Fervor from going off. Just considering all the options, making sure that he's looked at. Of course, in these tournaments, these players both know each other's full deck lists, and what that means is it's a very different strategy game than on ladder, where you don't know your opponent's deck. He's looking at every card and thinking to himself, if I just use Fervor right now, is it stoppable by literally anything? Double checking everything, and he knows he's good to go. He pulls it on the Fervor, and that's 1-1.
Oh wait, no, I think
he can stop this if it hits.
Nope. No?
Yep.
Oh yeah, there's only one left. Aikado knows it's over.
Yep.
For some reason I was thinking there's still 4 left, but no. Aikado getting burned.
All right, we are 1-1, and like I said, Aikado winning game 1, but now he has to play the unfavorable deck, and he's got to play it.
He's playing the deck that Pinpingho is ready to beat, as we just saw. And we're going to see it again because it's time for actually one of my favorite decks. I'm talking about Jinx, Draven, Discardium, Leviosa. We're going to be getting, a little bit of cycling cards. We get to see our best friend Vision and a couple new tools from the Scion discard package without Scion.
I love it. In fact, I want to point out, we're seeing literally all 4 different Draven decks in this Worlds tournament. We're seeing Draven Jinx, we're seeing Draven Scion, we're seeing Draven Caitlyn, and we're seeing Draven Ezreal. All 4 come together, Pinpingho being the only player to bring Draven Jinx with a spicy updated version. This deck relies on a good opening hand. He's got a full mulligan. He draws Jinx augmented and get excited in the opening. Not what you want. That's a bricky hand.
Oh, no, you want to be spitting out those free units early on, buffing them up, and going for
Both players have bad hands
spiders,
here.
everything else. And, there's a Reborn Grenadier, but no way to discard it easily in hand. You've got that Get Excited, but no targets right now. But Aikado also with a weird hand. Look at this. It's like, gonna get some moon weapons and heal myself for 2.
Exactly.
Great. But that Burblefish is just like here for the future.
Both players just trying to figure out the best way to make use of these pretty bad hands. I mean, both players have very, very awkward and clunky hands right now. But that does favor the Nami Zoe player. Aggro is more early draw reliant. Pinpingho is looking at the situation. You can see on his face he's not very happy about these draws, but he is going to go in for some damage here right off the bat with these Reborn Grenadiers. He knows he's emptying his hand early and aggressively, And he knows this crowd favorite is pretty much not going to matter. So he's just going in right now. He's taking the damage while he can.
That is truly
Super aggressive.
the super aggressive strategy. Not going to play conservatively against Zoe, Nami, knowing that they may have their Nami in hand, knowing that they may have the Sparklefly to start buffing up.
Yep.
No, it looks like we're going to see line them up and knock them
Pinpingho
down.
Is very scared of a double trouble here. 2 blockers would be dangerous, but Aikado didn't have it. Just going to be one thing getting removed.
There we go. And now Pinpingho still getting in 6 damage with these ephemerals.
Yeah. So normally, the thing about Reborn Grenadier is you usually don't want to use it
No,
as
you never
early
cast
because it's just
it. You just kind of throw
Yeah,
it out there when you need
exactly.
it. And
It's just a one-time damage.
Vision. These are rough draws. So like
Very
Aikado
rough.
is healing up, was actually down to 11, which is pretty low. But I don't think he's feeling that bad about what's such a strange hand, especially now that Nami's up there. Do you see
Yeah.
Aikado getting the fish? There we go. And
she's
leveled.
flipped. This is huge. He has the gifts from Beyond in hand, so he has access to Sparklefly. And now the onus is on Pinpingho to have a way to deal with this. He needs to be get exciting the Sparklefly, but Aikado's not going to play it until he has enough mana to protect it.
I love this. Jinx is out here. She's ready to cause some damage, and oh no, it's Nami. It's the Vastaya from under the water.
Aikado thinking about using a pick a card there, but he realizes that Pinpingho has a pretty weak hand, so he doesn't really need to unbrick his draws yet.
Yeah, it's strange to have a hand like that and not have to feel concerned with this timely Nami draw.
All right.
And
Pinpingho
also-
drawing his cards in all the wrong order. This spider would have been really good a few turns ago.
Do you see what Aikado has? It's Fleet Admiral Shelly! Just in case
Fleet
this Nami
Admiral Shelley.
died, it's just fine. With a hand like this many cantripping spells, quick spells, go and steal in your spells. Ooh, love to see
Yep.
Shelly.
This is it. And this is why, I mean, as much as like a lot of the players feel like Zoe Nami is a vulnerable deck and it's a targetable deck, it's also a deck that can just high roll a win, especially because, you know, the decks that beat it, aggro, tend to be pretty reliant on luck as well, just because the early draws can sometimes just kind of mess you over, you know? It's like there's not much Pinpingho can really do here.
So where were those spiders earlier on? Where were those spiders on, like, turn 2?
Yeah, even a turn ago would have been so much better than now, because he would have at least been able to play the crowd favorite into this attack. But just drawing them in the most awkward time possible. You can see his expression. He's just not happy with these draws.
How do you think Aphelios feels about his sister hanging out with Nami instead of him?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Gifts from Beyond is kind of like, it has been sort of a better Aphelios for quite some time now, and Zoe Nami can use it so effectively because it's just a 1-mana spell trigger, even when you're not getting the weapon. That's so valuable
Yeah,
for a
and-
deck that relies on spell triggers.
Like, this is now a 3/3 buffable, healing, elusive threat. It is everything. It is the stabilization. It is the threat. It is everything. And oh, try to kill it? Do you try to kill it? Because there's a Nami with 4 mana, and you do not want to know how much burst in hands.
Oh, he absolutely has to try to kill this. There's no way around this, right?
Try.
I mean, he has to go in because
That's gonna be hard. I'm like
It's unlikely.
eyeing the other gifts. I'm eyeing the Pale Cascade.
yeah, and we have just enough mana for Aikado. He knows he's good here. He knows he's going to keep the Sparklefly alive, but he would have to play Pale Cascade in addition to the Spell Thief on nothing and the Gifts from Beyond, just to give it enough health to survive this combat. Now, the interesting thing is he might... I was going to say he might have to Gifts for another Crescendum because he doesn't
but
know
he
whether the
actually-
Sparklefly is alive or not, but he got another one.
Yeah, right there. Easy. There we go.
Alright.
Gifts from Beyond.
So we are
Thank
about
you.
to see when Pinpingho has no other card and the Sparklefly lives. We're about to see the biggest breath of relief on Aikado's face as he realizes his his Sparklefly is not dying here.
Sparklefly, not dead.
Yeah, it's a
Could
casual
almost
10 attack lifesteal
two-shot
unit.
Pinpingho while healing back up to 20 every single time. Sparklefly, kind of a menace.
Yep. And we are going to see an 18 health Aikado, and Pinpingho has not even taken down this 10 attack Sparklefly. 16 health, my mistake.
But you know what? Aikado has ended this turn with more health than he started with.
Yeah.
That's just the power of the Sparklefly with the Nami. And now we even have a little wiggly Burblefish. That was a free card right there, and it's going to start absorbing those buffs. That's actually the danger of playing it out there, is that now you're not going to be buffing up your Sparklefly, so it is more vulnerable to removal, including things like Jinx Rockets.
Yep, exactly. And we're going to see the Augmented come down as a method to, try to remove this Sparklefly. And, I mean, it should work, but we have a second Sparklefly. That's why Aikado realizes she doesn't need to protect the first one.
Woe is me, for my 2-drop is dead.
Yeah, my 9/1 lifesteal elusive 2-drop just goes down here to the 6 mana unit.
Oh goodness, but Aikado is not too worried here because Sparklefly number 2, the second Sparklefly, sequel to Sparklefly, is not going to be causing all too much trouble. And with this discard, we also get Jinx leveling up, and actually a very nice set of draws here because this can empty out next turn to get the rocket.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to be hitting a rocket. It's going to be really, really hard. I mean, I'm struggling to find enough damage on Pinpingho's side that's going to be able to take down this board state. With the, lifesteal on Sparklefly, it's going to be continually buffable. And Pinpingho had ways of dealing with the first Sparklefly. He used Get Excited, he used Augmented, but he's out of those tools now. And I don't know how he's going to deal with the second one.
Time to knock down the challengers right there.
Yep. Aikado's realizing he can lifesteal back up to full if he pre-commits the mana and just does an elusive attack for 9 here.
Aikado has not even used up this attack token here. Going in for 9. Healing up to 20. Pinpingho's in a rough spot. Level champ, yes, but these draws were not what was necessary. You need to get rid of that Sparklefly now, but that's going to be still, you're still dealing with this Nami, because even if you take out the Sparklefly, there's still a freaking Burblefish. There's a Burblefish that could probably get up to 11 attack next turn.
That's exactly the thing. Normally, in this case, Pinpingho is the aggro deck, and you just kill the Sparklefly, and you're often just good at racing down. But in this case, Aikato's at 20 health already, and Pinpingho is already at 11, so even if the Sparklefly were to go down to some miracle, Aikado would still just be able to race down Pinpingho on the discard deck. Discard aggro, the fastest deck in the game.
Discard aggro that had a bricked first hand. That's the big thing. No spiders in opening hand. Just the one unit can't even block. The Legion, he's like, well, I guess I can get in some early damage. Oh, it turns out it doesn't matter because Sparklefly is the field medic. Sparklefly coming to your aid.
Exactly. And this is the risk of discard aggro. I mean, it's a powerful deck when it works, but it can flop so hard. And that's why a lot of other players were afraid to bring it. Pinpingho had the bring, but unfortunately just did not work out for him in this one game it had to.
Waiting to see if there is a commit into an attack. I feel like you do risk a little attacking in, but not all too much. So Heavens Aligned, going for Nightfall. And that's a nice Nightfall card. Gonna be better when you're attacking, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're always good to get these cheap cards in decks that can replenish hand value as fast as Zoe Nami. So at this point, I mean, both players realize that Aikado is in direct control of the situation. Aikado's thinking, about potential lose conditions, like what hand states should I play around? Because as a good player, you need to be constantly, even when you're winning, you need to be okay, what could possibly happen that makes me lose? Let's play around that. And when you're losing, you do the opposite, right? So Pinpingho is trying to basically assume the best case, and Aikado's kind of trying to assume the worst case, is how I like to say it.
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself into a place where you are overconfident, where you feel, oh, I've already won this, because you're not playing around the possible outs, the potential outs that your opponent has. But Pinpingho, just this deck in general does not have many ways to remove large units, to come back from things. I'm looking at the specific list right now for this discard aggro, and Oh goodness, just going for it. It's almost
Just
like
that
you
room.
have two
Sparkle
flies. This does not have a high end. There's no like one of thermo beam to just put you on guard. But no, any attack in here is going to result in Aikado still being at nearly full life. You don't have to block the jinx.
Yeah.
That's fine. Oh wait, putting the blockables at the end? Okay, no, just a minor rude. I was gonna be like, do you want Aikado to be at 20? He's okay with it. I'm sure he's fine with it. So we have the Burblefish who's wearing the Sparklefly's hat and an actual Sparklefly, both 7/5 life-stealing elusives. Oh
Yeah.
my god. And Nami's just chilling on the back line like, go get him, boys. What's up? I found the Abyssal Pearl. I'm good.
The thing that makes Nami so powerful is that 4th point of health, because for an effective 2-mana unit, a 4 health engine is a really, really, really scary thing. Because if Nami had 1 less health, then she gets a lot more targeted
excited.
down.
That's what she
yeah,
gets.
Exactly.
She gets excited.
She gets excited. Exactly, Amy. And yeah, I mean, the fact that she's just so hard to remove is why this deck, when it works, when it draws Nami, when it can go off with her, is so uncontested.
And getting her leveled on the turn you player means that she's insulated from things like that first get excited. And even if she were, let's say, nerfed down to being a 2/2, Mystic Shot, no worries, already leveled when she comes out.
Yep, absolutely.
Now Aikado looking probably pretty happy about the next turn, maybe just going into an open attack.
Pinpingho trying to figure out how to potentially salvage the situation. He needs the Jinx rockets, so here's one coming in.
R.I.P. Scrap Scuttler. And the first rocket is going to get some damage onto all 3 of these units, going to bring Nami, Fly, and the Burblefish into a weaker state of existence. But because of just the plethora of burst speed spells, Nami can heal these little units back up so quickly. And we're going to see a pick a card throwing the owl back in, the onlooker. Since it's not really useful, you don't want it on the battlefield because then you're stuck buffing it when you really want these elusives to deal the final blow. And, Pinpingho not getting removal here. Aikado technically with just the lethal open swing, but gonna go with the, I'm gonna say insurance. It's Shelly time.
So Pinpingho actually just played 2 of the elusive Poros, and I want to talk about why he did that. Basically, he's thinking about this hard, and he's realizing, I mean, he's incredibly unfavored here, but he's realizing his only win condition is basically, you need to play this stabilizer here. You need to hope you're top decking cards like Get Excited, cards like Augmented, or multiple copies of Jinxes, because that's also Get Excited. And you kill the Nami, and you just start out-grinding, is pretty much the only way you have a chance against Aikado's deck at
another
this point.
Poro cannon. So there's going to be more elusive blockers. But how's this make it rain RNG? It's hitting one of the elusive Poros.
Yeah, and this just looks over at this point. I mean, Pinpingho is going to have to literally discard his rocket here just to stay alive this turn.
Sometimes make it rain makes it work. So going again for these elusive Poros, gotta make sure they have the elusive blockers here. But Pinpingho only has 2, and there are 3 swinging in, one of which is healing.
Look at
one
how...
of which is buffing all of them. Because Shelly is gonna keep this board growing and growing and growing. Shelly's a monster.
Yeah.
Shelly commits war crimes.
I want to say Shelly's actually one of the reasons why the deck works. Because if Shelly wasn't a card, the deck wouldn't be able to win enough games where you just don't draw Nami. But because Shelly's so powerful, in a lot of matchups, not drawing Nami is actually totally okay. If you can just stabilize, Shelly can just buff all your elusives anyway, and you're totally fine not having access to Nami. I mean, you'd prefer the Nami.
You prefer the Nami, but you know what?
Always, yeah.
Second Nami. If you had a backup Nami, still pretty nice. And it's always good to have your game plan have a backup. When you can only have 3 copies of a card in your deck, you need to build towards consistency. Having one-ups is good to catch your opponent out, to get out of like very sticky situational series, but right here, it's about the consistency. You need to get out your engine because your entire deck is built around buff up these elusives, get these tiny units, absolutely massive. And we're actually seeing Spell Thief here going to steal one of these spells that Pinpingho has cast. And we're seeing the rocket from Jinx. You're not allowed to
And this
have
is
that,
lethal.
Aikado.
Yeah.
Aikado, that's not for you. It's lethal.
What a way to close out this game. Big style points from Aikado, stealing the Jinx's rocket and killing him on that turn.
That is beautiful. And that means that Aikado is getting the first win for the B bracket. That's Group B's first winner of the day, Aikado. But they all have more matches left to play. And I'm looking forward to see who makes it into the top 8 from these groups.
Ooh, that was such an exciting series. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, especially knowing that Aikado was unfavored in this matchup. And Swim, you actually pointed out that the Draven Ezreal was not the target of the ban for Pinpingho. Was that the right call?
I mean, it's really, really debatable. I think it ended up being the right call because the Sivir auction deck got banned out. But to be able to make that call, Pinpingho had to be basically certain that Sivir auction was the ban. I mentioned at the start, there's a pretty good chance that he banned Sivir auction, but any of the 3 bans would have been viable. The ban from Pinpingho on the Lulu Zed, based on the matchup stats, had to basically assume that the Sivir auction was getting banned out. So it was an amazing call.
Ooh, and then, the other game, but just like the relief, the relief Amazonian from Aikado, just knowing that he was able to squeak out a win with that Zoe Nami deck. I mean, that was super exciting.
Once that Sparklefly survived the Get Excited, the game was decided because it was over. There's the creatures, they grow, the units get massive, and when all you have is a little bit of paltry burn and creatures swinging in and you didn't get the start you needed, you're gonna get wrecked.
Yeah, I really did like, though, Pinpingho's version of discard aggro. It was much more aggressive, and it was tailored not to be able to take games long, but instead just race things down early. He increased the odds as much as possible of him being able to get those early hands, and just did not hit it in that game. It was super unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like just the win condition eluded him for a little bit there, but we have those standings ready to go, so let's go ahead and pull those up. We have had 1 match in Group A and 1 match in Group B, so what am I for Group A? Leading the charge, and of course Aikado leading the charge for Group B. But we still have so much more action to cover today, and we're going to be rotating through casters. So Amazonia, we're going to say goodbye to you briefly. We will see you later, and let's go ahead and bring in Skarzig to take over this game number 3. Oh, just kidding. I forgot. We have a break. So we're going to see Skarzig after with Swim for our game number 3. We'll see you guys then.